Here we on? Yes, we on. Hey, crew. All right. I'm jumping on early to give you a head start for the October report, focused on the full moon coming up October 6th. Um, yeah, we had an interesting eclipse that just passed over. A lot of movement happened. So I thought, since I'm in my office, let me do a video real quick. It's late at night right now, but that's okay. I figure I want to get this done because I'm feeling the itch to travel again. So I tend to be a little bit inconsistent with my videos when I'm journeying. So I figured let's be normal. Okay, so anyway, full moon is coming up, and then I'll look at some transits uh, a little bit later too. But we have the full moon coming up in Pisces. Don't know. Let me get my pen up. Don't know what tropical is saying, but yeah, we have it in Pisces. So um, a few things stood out. First of all, just at a glance, and most of you know I have astronomy background, astrophotography. This view is what we call, or what I call heaven, and especially when I was a stargazer, um, around as end of September, October, you get the crisp evenings. It starts to get dark earlier. The crisp evenings give you a nice dark, crispy, clear skies, not a lot of humidity. Um, and then what's amazing is that you have, and I literally wrote this on my notes. I'll show it to you. It's called heaven. I'm just remembering how that felt, and I'll explain it to you. So here, let me just erase that. Here you have ALC, that's the Pleiades. So if you look at the Pleiades through a telescope, especially on a crispy fall evening, you can literally, my experience at least, was like looking at like diamonds, and then you can almost hear the kind of crystal sound, the crackling sound of the stars as you're looking. I'm not sure if most people have that experience, but that's my experience is you hear this like crackling sound, this like majestic kind of it's just beautiful when you see the Pleiades like that in the sky. And that's conjunct Uranus. And of course we have the number seven, right? So this is like just a beautiful sight. Then right down from there you have ALN, that's the Orion. So you have in full constellation of Orion with Orion's belt. And that alone is amazing, especially when you look at M42, the Orion Nebula, the Great Orion Nebula. That's a that's a they call that a stellar nursery because it births stars. So it's like literally like giving birth to stars because of all the nebulous gas is it's the perfect formula to create stars. So it spits them out. And then some people say, maybe our solar system is from Orion, but I think our solar system is actually from the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, which is the galactic center, but that's a whole other thing. I'm still looking at heaven over here. So then you have that, and then of course, right at the time when the full moon goes exact, you have Sirius, the star of Isis. And that's the brightest star. And when you look at Sirius through a telescope, especially through clear skies, the star does like it pulses and it churns colors. So my experience is white, almost like an electric blue, which we can call that a cobalt blue. So it goes from white, cobalt blue, and then to this like uh, green, like this like nebula green, that like I don't even know what kind of green, but this amazing green, and it pulses. It's like it's really it's pretty amazing actually. Then there's a secret, and most people show um, they'll show like stars that look watery, and that's basically, and then they go, oh, that proves that we live in a sphere of water, the firmament is water. I mean, that's kind of out of hand. But what that is when the telescope is out of focus. You actually see the star. It makes a weird like donut shape. And you can actually, when you do that, you see more of the colors. So it's pretty cool. It's a practice you do. You look and then you do out of focus, and then you can see like all these pulsing, vibrating colors. And you get that experience with Sirius. So my experience is this is heaven. And Uranus rising. And right after Uranus rising, you have Jupiter rising, Jupiter ascending. I talk about that movie a lot, Jupiter ascending, which is she's actually the queen of I think like a big part of the universe, and our solar system is part of her empire. But she's born on Earth with amnesia, doesn't know she's really the queen reincarnated. Jupiter ascending. Watch that movie. And you got Sirius rising, and right after that, I mean, this is when the full moon goes exact. So full moon goes exact, and then like it's probably 15 minutes later, Jupiter pops up, Jupiter ascending. So that's like that's heaven. That's what I say. This is heaven. So that's the majestic scene of the evening. Then you got the full moon, of course, in the sky. And now let's get. This is what caught my attention. This trine is something we are going to work with. Um, the whole time. And these are pretty intense planets. So you have Pluto in Capricorn, just out of Sag, Venus conjunct South Node in Leo, then Uranus in Taurus con conjunct the Pleiades. And of course, Taurus rules Venus. So this is a lot of feminine energy. And I see, let me check my notes. Testing the highest matriarch. Testing the highest matriarch energies, the feminine principles of being an awakened soul, because then you get a little bit of this kind of what we call the kite. So now we're kind of looking at the area of the full moon, but primarily Saturn, Neptune, North Node. So let's kind of break this down. So when Pluto and Venus hit, this is transmutation through the feminine sexual energy, the process of that. So using the feminine energy to create. So we like that, and and it falls in alignment with what we got here, which I'll look at that too. Then the Leo Venus South Node. South Node. When you see South Node, this is always like an energy of remembering a past, remembering the old way. And I think I wrote here, remembering the primordial. Because that's the Sekhmet energy. Venus and Leo is Sekhmet. So that's the primordial goddess mother. She's the literally like a destroyer, but she's also a nurturing mother. She destroys to protect. So so she has that power, but she's also primordial mother. If you look at her, if you look at statues of her, there's one in the Karnak temple in Egypt. We've been to several times, and whoever's been to Egypt and has been into that shrine with Sekhmet, you've all had this experience. And my experience was she actually moves. You'll see photos online of people with Sekhmet with orbs around. Uh, the whole image is wavy just around Sekhmet, and the like the image is normal, but just around Sekhmet is like wavy, like energy, like melted rock. It just keeps going. People talk to her, and it's a real thing. And for me, yeah, when I was there, she was moving and talking, and her breast. You can see it in the Met if you live in New York. The Metropolitan Museum has the permanent Egyptian exhibit. She has wrote like well, it's the mammary glands, but it's looks like flower petals on her breast, nurturing. But then she's also, if you read her story, she also will kill, she killed armies. And the only way they can stop her, because she had this thirst of blood of the enemies, so the only way to stop her was that they had to pour uh, red wine into the Nile River, and it tricked her to believe that that was the blood of her enemies. So she drank it, and then she fell asleep. That's the story. So this is because she's a primordial. It's primal, the primal instinct of the lioness to protect, which will kill and destroy. And then Pluto in Capricorn with Venus is the feminine sexual energy to create, destroy, like responsibilities. And then Uranus is you free to do what you want, and it's in Taurus. So, freedom is the values of freedom, because Taurus is about comforts and values and beauty, love, and light. So Uranus there is like awakening to that, especially conjunct the Pleiades. You're getting into the star seed awakening, and I've it's been there for a while. So you've probably heard me say this a couple times, but it's just like the celestial greatness that you are, awakening to that, taking responsibility. And this is where I want to get into the responsibility. I keep talking about spiritual responsibility. That's Saturn, Neptune. Maturity, Saturn, maturity, responsibility. Neptune is access to the great Akashic records. North Node in Aquarius. The path, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. The path to be be the love and the light that you know you are. This is your spiritual responsibility. And I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it, right? Like we are ex I mean, I'm experiencing it. I'm walking around where my old town, I'm back in my hometown, and I'm seeing people from now versus when I really lived here, and they're not in their spirit. They're kind of, I don't know what's going on, but I think it's this. It's like you have to be responsible to live your spiritual path. Like, I don't know why would you, and of course, like the system beats us to not. It beats us down to kind of live in this kind of way that's like kind of kills the spirit. So now this energy is saying, no, you have to be responsible to be on your path of spirit. And I think that's what I'm seeing here. And I think that's what people, if you're awake, then you deal with this and you get there. And if you're not awake, none of this means anything to you. So I think this is, I mean, it's clear what I see, spiritual responsibility. And let me just see what I got here. Yeah, responsible spiritual integrity. And Saturn is about integrity, structure, integrity of your, the integrity of your spiritual structure, your body that, you have a spirit, you have a soul. Like, what are you doing? Then the moon is in Pisces, so it's there, and then Chiron is there too. The healing, the wounds, and so yeah, it's your responsibility to look at that, to open it up, to work with it, to access it, to use the celestial energies to awaken to it, to yeah, create fire, and then action. Let me look down here. The loyal, okay, divine. So it's a lot of creation energy because this Virgo, you guys know the Virgo thing is bigger than anything. We just finished a tour through Europe at the Virgo cathedrals that are a lot that's aligned to the actual constellations. The constellation of Virgo, the Notre Dame cathedrals. There's many of them in Europe, in France. So here you have the sun there, creator. Mercury, Mercury is the intelligence of creation in Virgo, and Mars, of course, is action, the force behind it. So it's in Virgo. So more matriarch energy of like putting it all together, piecing it all together. And so this is what I see. And then of course, then we have pretty much everything's connected. Again, you see a trine to this whole full moon area of Pisces, and then a sextile to the second energy of the south node. So again, everything is kind of blended together. And we could look at, if we want, we could look at that T square with Chiron and Jupiter. So this is the wounded, or the healer. This could represent, you know, rising up to be the healer or to heal, so that you can step into your royalty. So it's possibly what we got. So that's leading up to the full moon, so you can prepare yourself for all of that. Like I said, that trine, I think, sets the stage for everything. All right, and now let's just have a look at a few transits. I think I ran it starting from today. Yeah, and then up until October 6th. So we want to just kind of, let me get this up here. Hang on a second. So let me move a few things around. Well, let's see. Everything we covered is happening. Uranus sextile Neptune. So Uranus trine Pluto. That's going on all the time. That's that Uranus Pluto is that grand trine with Venus. And then Neptune sextile Pluto. So this is a lot of spiritual transmutation. So just wanted to see that Neptune we were looking at is in Pisces. Yep, and it hits Pluto. Yeah, so this is getting working in the depths, Pluto, in the digging it out, responsible to go deep, to bring out. Then I saw something at the end which was interesting, the square with Mercury and Pluto, right? Looks like on the full moon. Let me just do this one more time. Hang on. Yeah, so there we go. Here, Mercury, yep, Mercury Virgo squares Pluto. That always brings out the hidden. It brings out what needs to come to the light. So definitely with this full moon, with that square, will bring the hard reality of the shadows that need to come into light. So that's something that you want to look at. Mercury squared Jupiter, October 1st, right? Like about midnight. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's Mercury, Jupiter's in Gemini, so the wealth of information that you have access to um, could be overbearing, but it's what we have access to. Mercury opposing Chiron, so to this is going to it's about healing. It's about accessing the information to heal, to heal with the information that you have, or the information um, could trigger, which is like you're the victim or you're the healer, or it triggered something that you know needs to be healed. So there's a lot of hidden information that looks like will be coming up for an opportunity to um, looks like what I wrote here, to rise up to your highest matriarch, to your spiritual responsibilities. As an awakened soul, especially on the full moon as you're looking at heaven. I mean, literally, this is heaven. If you look at the scene, which is my favorite, the Ma'at scene, which is where we get Libra from, the weighing of the heart. What's waiting for you when you do make it is Isis and Osiris in the other chamber. And Isis is Sirius, Osiris is Orion. So where are they waiting for you? They're waiting for you in the Amduat, in the stars. Well, what's else is in the stars? Oh, heaven. So there you go. So this is heaven. They're waiting. They're waiting for you to pass. Um, so yeah, that's what I got for now. So this is up to October 6th. I'll do another one before then, most likely. Like I said, it's late, it's almost midnight, and I just decided let me do this real quick. All right, so I'll have more for you guys later, and yep, I'll see you later. Bye.